Fabiano Caruana with the black pieces taking on Nodirbek Abdusattorov. And my guess, David, would be that this came out of the Spanish. And that strange rook that was on a2, perhaps the light squared bishops got traded there. Maybe we can back up, take it from the start, and then do a deep dive into this position.
Yeah, you're right. You called it correctly there, Tanya. The opening was a Roy Lopez or a Spanish, and it did begin with e4, e5, and this variation with the bishop coming out and getting kicked back. And let's just fast forward to one of the critical moments. You mentioned the white rook on a2. It became a bit of an odd piece in this position after black developed to e6. Still well-known territory, well-known opening theory. But now after bishop takes bishop, the rook recaptures, and it is left on a vulnerable square, and we'll see how that plays into proceedings later on. The knights simply retreated, and black broke out with d5. And this isn't the most kind of popular move as far as I'm aware. I haven't looked at this for a while, but it did turn out well for Fabiano, because suddenly the white knight gets kicked around. Look at these black pawns really strong in the center. And not just that, but after the knight retreats, queen to d5, a tempo-gaining move, hitting the rook, defending the center. To me, in the current position, if we catch up, Fabiano looks in control, simply with black already. I would say advantage black, just due to how much space you have, how strong these pawns are.
But look at Nodirbek's last move, rook coming to c1. He says your center looks very good, but I'm about to strike with c4, dynamite move myself, hitting your queen, gaining some space, and opening up the queen side here. The e5 pawn is a bit tender. Sometimes in these positions, your best option would be, can I actually push my pawn backwards one square, put it back to f6 to protect that pawn e5. A pawn's best friend is another pawn. We love our pawn chains, but I think that right now it is Nodirbek who's trying to break free from the chains and throw those pawns c4 and cause chaos.
Yeah.
I'm still liking black's position here. It just looks like there's so much harmony in black's pieces. You centralized everything, gained space in the center. I hear you, Robert. c4 is always in the air, creating problems for black, but just with the piece activity, even a move like retreating with the bishop to d8, and I'm scared how the eval bar might react to it, but bishop d8, it doesn't love it. But it just feels as if you've got your own pawns moving forward, and the rooks are nicely placed in the central lines.
Yeah, I think black at some well, urgency needs to put the king in the corner as well. There might be some tactics. I'm liking Robert's idea, for example, if bishop d8, pawn to c4. Of course, black shouldn't get too greedy here, but if you do take this pawn for a second time, suddenly queen to b3 would be a deadly pin on the diagonal. Not just that, but black's knights are so loose along the c-file that something will drop off. For example, if you drop back a simple queen trade and the knight on c6 is undefended. So there are some tactics. I like your idea, Tanya, moving the bishop out of the way, protecting this pawn with your rook. But maybe first you shuffle the king into the corner, or other moves dealing with this semi-threat of pawn to c4.
Would love to get e4 in, but it just looks like white might be the one getting c4 in before black gets that central break. And Fabi, he slows down. The clocks are leveling out. This whole rook maneuver that we saw by Nodirbek, first the rook goes to a2, recaptures the bishop, then comes back to a1, then to c1 with this idea. That's some high-class chess right there.
Yeah, it's rerouting a piece. It may take some time, but he understands that black cannot crash through the center yet. And I just want to note that Nodirbek, he does pretty well against Fabiano, especially online. Nodirbek, he qualified for these finals by winning the Chess Kid Cup. Who did he beat in the final? None other than Fabiano Caruana. So their head-to-head is quite combative. These are two of the most determined fighting players in the entire chess circuit. But Nodirbek, despite being just a teenager, he's shown that he can keep pace with some of the best veterans of the game.
Yeah, and I do actually like his approach, despite the fact originally, kind of optically, it looks great for black. White is provoking the opponent forward. He's trying to probe for weaknesses later on. Fabi maybe overextended. And fighting chess, you mentioned it, Robert. Abdusattorov just always fighting, always provoking. Also, did he take down Fabi when he won the 2021 World Championship? Either way, he's got just this fantastic style, and so great to watch. This one is guaranteed to be a proper fight right now. And okay, he's in the tank, Fabiano. He realizes now that c4, massive idea, hard to stop.
And it's so strange because visually this position looks like a beautiful outcome for the black pieces out of the Spanish, right? You've got so much control and piece harmony, but very often it's so concrete in chess. And now with modern chess especially, c4 is a big threat using the tactics, and Fabi's taken about, what? It's been almost a 4-minute thing.
Looks can be deceiving. He has all of these pawns centralized on his own.
white king is causing him real issues right now, Abdusattorov.
And he looks nervous. He's fiddling with the pieces. He's getting low on the clock. He still is ahead on time. But Fabiano's task is easier because even if both players think that white is winning a one position, they say, is the hardest thing to do in chess. And Fabi keeps bringing the king forward, trying to get white in that mating net.
And Nodirbek, he's shaking his head. He knows that he hasn't been able to find a way to free up his pieces or trade those rooks. He hasn't made any progress. Meanwhile, Fabi, he is putting on great resistance.
And we might see a three-time repetition if Nodirbek brings that rook back. We have seen that position numerous times at this stage.
But now the white A pawn is suddenly hanging. There's still some threats of checks behind. Wow, Fabiano.
He repeats, and I think Fabi, I think he was about to claim. Could he have claimed?
But this is the big difference between online and in-person. OTB events, it doesn't automatically get a draw. You have to make the claim. It's tough when you're not taking notation down. The arbiters will step in if it happens enough times. But right now, Nodirbek, seems like he's lost his entire advantage. You look at the eval bar. It's at zeros, which means that it might be now a three-time repetition.
Yeah, those threats of those checkmating nets and threats against the white pawns combined are just too much. White cannot fend off both of those ideas. And I did check. I don't think it was a three-move repetition, so it was a good call not to claim there, Fabiano. But he's defending. He's focusing on those moves and playing perfect defense here.
Just amazing resistance here by Fabi, playing for that piece activity, the king participating in it, and Nodirbek just unable to make progress with 2 extra pawns.
And it's something all the players complimented Magnus about, how resilient he is, that he doesn't lose when he even should be lost. And Fabi's doing much the same. He's improving his defensive tenacity, his resourcefulness, and right now he just keeps chasing the white rook.
Yeah, what to do with white? Now he's really in danger of repeating the position. All these checks won't help. The black king will not get checkmated on its own there. It can defend itself. And, okay, he moves across. Suddenly there are checks. Ooh, the white king in a bit of danger suddenly. Fabi gives one of those checks.
Where are you hiding? You can't go to third rank. You've got to keep that A3 pawn defended, and it's going to fall. You just give a check on D1, pick up the rook, pick up the pawn.
But he might think that his king is close enough and the black king might be cut off. So is this a theoretical draw? That's the essential question. Both players, just like the audience, don't have that answer in front of them. So rook takes rook, king takes rook, and rook takes pawn on the flank pawn with check. The white king slides up diagonally, and the black king, is it close enough? I think it does get back in time. Fabiano's calculating that right now.
Yeah, I just checked. He cannot take the rook. He cannot. He will get cut off across the board. And we'll show this later on. Wow. Unless it happens on the board right now. He doesn't trade rooks. He saves himself, Fabi. That was a trap. Abdusattorov looked a bit disappointed there that it didn't happen. But now a bunch more checks. Fabi's still extremely active. I think this was a good practical decision, keeping the tension, because Abdusattorov still cannot make progress.
Incredible precision there by Fabi, and he's getting the extra seconds on the clock as the position gets repeated.
And look at Nodirbek. He's trying to set up ladder checkmate ideas. The black king is cut off along the 4th rank. He's going to put his own rook on the 5th rank. But Fabi continuing to check this king. The white king does not have much shelter. So check, 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 check. Where is that king running to?
And if you trade rooks too far away from those queenside pawns, then black will happily pick up the A3 pawn.
Ooh, he's driving the king forward, but the king can hide in front of its own rook here. Okay, it keeps marching up the board, and the white rook will zoom behind to block it on F4.
But it's almost checkmate. That second rook, the black rook in the corner, when that slides over to give a check, only that white rook on the H4 square can block that check. Otherwise, it would be mate.
The black king almost checkmated as well. The black king barely with any squares. Look at it getting chased back now. This is surely winning. Fabiano, he's blundered. He's allowing a rook trade, even checkmate, and game over.
Oh my God, that was a mate at the very end. What a game. What a piece play there by both Nodirbek and Fabiano Caruana. But Nodirbek comes back on top, takes that endgame. Incredible resistance, but Nodirbek, incredible power play by him as well.
Persistence trumps